Hello guys, in today's video I want to show you how to trace your reference photo onto the paper using the transfer paper. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so what you're gonna need here is a blank piece of paper, and I'm using a Pastelmat paper. I absolutely love this paper. And I already taped it, and the reason why I do this is because, for example, at first I like to have my paper taped while I work on it, and also allows you to have that outline, which after, if you want to frame it or if your customer wants to frame it, he will have enough space to actually do that, and this will allow him to frame it properly. So I did this, I already taped it, and you're gonna need a tape, you're gonna need a transfer paper. Now we're gonna talk about that in a few seconds, about the paper, and we need a reference photo. So for this, we're gonna use this cat and this tape. So you're either gonna need like a pen here or a pencil that we will be using. So let's dive into this straight away. So I have my transfer paper here, and this is a graphite transfer paper. Now let's just talk about this for 1 second. Don't get confused between the transfer paper and the carbon paper. So there's loads of option to buy this carbon paper. And what this does is, this one is wax-based. So if you're using this one, it's usually been used, for example, for the textile, if you want to transfer something onto the textile, onto the clothes or anything else. So this is a very good option. But when it comes to the drawing, if you're using the carbon paper, because it's waxy, it will be very, very hard to erase this. So that is really, really hard when it comes to this. So I'm not using this. I just basically bought it so I can see what this actually is, and also to tell you a little bit about it so you don't get confused, because I've seen that a lot of those online shops are actually offering also the carbon paper. So what you're gonna need is, you're gonna need a graphite transfer paper, which looks like this. And this also comes in white. So I couldn't find, at the moment, I cannot find any white transfer paper, but that's also very good. For example, if you have very dark paper, it would be really good to have a white outline, but it's also a transfer paper, it's white. This is a graphite one, and the other one is the white one. So I'm using the graphite paper, and you need to pay attention. This is the front part, and as you can see, like, this is the part where the graphite is actually pulling off of the paper. So we want that part to be switched onto the paper, because if you press it, the line is going to stay because the graphite is going to transfer there. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to put it like this, and we're going to tape it just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere while we draw. And on top of that, you are going to need your reference photo. So I cut the paper in the size of this cute little cat, and I can see, like, basically pretty much that I taped it here. So I'm gonna place it approximately like this. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, and but it's really important not for the paper not to be like quite bigger than this. It's really important to have your reference photo in a very similar dimension as your paper. So I'm gonna approximately put it like this, because I can see where I taped this, and I can see where the line and where this tape is being finished. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to also tape that as well. I'm gonna do that, just like that. On all 4 sides. And here what's really, really important is for you to pay attention to all the details that you need while you're working with pastels and while you're transferring the reference photo. So for example, we would need, of course, we would need these details when it comes to the eyes. We would need this part, like where this part is being finished. We would approximately need these lines here that are allowing us to see like where is the dark part, where is the lighter one. Of course, the only thing that I am not transferring, and I almost never transfer whenever I do something like this, is the whiskers here. So I actually never transfer them, and I always like to, basically whenever your drawing is finished, because this goes the last, I like to approximately do my whiskers by myself. So that's the only thing that I'm not actually transferring. But that's when it comes to pets, that's when it comes to animals. So whatever you think that it's really, really important when it comes to your reference photo, you need to start with the outline. So I'm gonna just start working on this like that. And I'm gonna see where this part is going. And I'm pressing my pencil quite hard here. As you can see, it even broke. And what I want to see is, that's why I told you that you might need a pen and not a pencil, is because sometimes depending on the thickness of the paper of your reference photo, it won't be, like the pencil itself won't be enough. So you would need a pen instead of that. And I'm gonna remove this so I can see, and as you can see, we already have the line. So when it comes to this, the pencil is enough. And as you can see, there are like slightly traces of the graphite, but what is a good thing when it comes to this paper is that it can be erased. If it's not a very hard pressure, it can be erased. And also the reason why we all transfer, like every time that you want to do something with pastels, the reason why we all transfer is that having very, very large amount of lines on the Pastelmat paper can actually affect how your drawing will look like. So that's something that is really, really important. So we can continue working on this now. And I'm just gonna press my pencil very, very hard, because we only need these lines here. We only need the lines of the cat. Like, it's a good thing when you're practicing to draw and then you take just a usual piece of paper and then you can have the lines as many as you want. But if you want to work with pastels, that can be quite challenging. So I'm just doing an outline and trying to place everything here. And even if your lines turn out like quite dark, what you can do is you can easily erase them with a kneaded eraser. I'm going to show you that once we finish. And I'm just going to block everything that I need. Like, all the information that I need here is this one here. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing just so I can see if everything is being transferred. And as you can see, like, we are having our sketch ready, which is really, really amazing. So I also need this. I need like this information here, like where this frontal part is finishing, because this is a bit behind this. So I also want to include this. And this is the whisker. And I want to finish this part here. I want to do this and see where this is finishing. And trust me, you can really, really erase whatever you want, especially when it comes to this graphite paper. As you can see, I have the graphite here, but it's easily erasable. So you can, even though you can smudge your hands with it, it can easily be taken off. So that's what's really important. And I want to put the line here and then another one underneath. And I'm basically just collecting all the information that I need here and here. And this one is really important because that's what makes a cat, like a very specific sketch of the cat. It goes like this. I'm gonna finish it here. What we also want to do is we want to finish this part here. And see where these lines are finishing as well. Go all the way till the end. Also here. And we're gonna finish it off. And also what is a good thing is that you can actually see which part you traced and which one you didn't, because I can see the lines. And that's really good. Like when you think that you finished, just go over again and see like really which part you did and which part you maybe missed. And even though you missed something, you will have enough information on your paper that you would easily be able to add by yourself. That's what I always do in case I forgot, something. I'm just I'm relying on the information that I actually have on the paper already, and then I can easily add things by myself. Now you need to be careful when it comes to this cute nose, like that. This. And I'm gonna just place a couple of lines here that I think that are really, really important. Also this part, and have these, like their mustache here. And we need this line here. And I'm also gonna separate this part here, and we need this part. And we need this line inside the eyes, and this. I have a fly here, like it's very small, and every time I start to film something, it's like she wants to be in the camera, and she's always there, and I feel very bad removing it, but at the same time, that fly can be very annoying, and like that fly, either he or she, just loves to be in my studio, and it's been like that for a while. But yeah, I'm just breaking down into all the details, these certain parts, just so I can see where is this finishing. This one we did, as I can see, and this one we did. This is gonna be like a cute small part of the cat's mouth. And now we want to work on the other eye, like this, and also to place this part here. This is something that is black, and I want to have that information on my sketch. And I'm pressing my pencil quite hard. Like that's something, if you don't press your pencil very hard, like your pencil needs to basically pierce all the way to the graphite, to the transfer paper, in order for the lines to stay there. So you really need to press your pencil, and as I told you, if it's not enough, if the pencil is not enough, feel free to use the pen, because still, no matter, like if you use the pen as well, there won't be no difference, because the paper is a graphite paper. So whatever you press it with, the graphite is always going to stay there. So that's also really important to know. And that's about it. We did this. just see it one more time to kind of have all these small informations here. Also here, this information here, this one. We already had this, and then I can see, I can check. I'm gonna remove this part again so I can see if I got it right. And as far as I know, I actually did. And we can just finish it off, this part here. And let's see it now. I also need this part, which is quite dark. I also want to separate that here. And as you can see, we basically got everything that we needed from the information so we can work on this cat. So now I know that all this part is going to be darker. Then we have, as you can see, then we have, for example, this part that I found. This one as well, I know that that's going to be that part. I know that this part is going to be this one. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy if you don't want to lose your time just sketching by yourself and having tons and tons of lines and everything else. Like, this is more than enough. And as you can see, I can just like dust it off, and half of the graphite is basically going off, which is really good. Like, this paper works like a small sandpaper, which is like simply amazing, and that's why I absolutely love this paper. But of course you can also use the kneaded eraser. Let me just get it so I can show you. So what you can also use is this kneaded eraser, and you can erase unnecessary lines, or if you overreacted somewhere, or if you're a transferred paper, for example, what can happen is that you press the transfer paper with your hand just a bit more than what's expected, and that will cause these smudges. But if you go over, once you go over with pastels, nothing would be seen. And what you can also do if you see that you overreacted with the lines, for example, you use the pen and then your lines is like just too much, you can use the kneaded eraser and just go like this. And as you can see, it's so easy to take off any extra graphite in case you overdid that. So use always the kneaded eraser for things like this. And this is a very cool method and very easy method, which of course is going to save up so much of your time to actually find like a proper drawing and to get a proper sketch, especially when you work on a Pastelmat paper, because this paper is just, it's made for pastels. It's made for pastels, but it's not that much made for the sketches, for the lines, for the, you know, and we want to save up the quality of the paper and the tooth of the paper as well by not playing with it with thousands of lines. So this is the simplest way to actually get a good reference and to speed up your drawing process. That would be all for today's video, guys. I truly hope that you find this helpful. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this method? I think that it's very easy, it's very forgiving, it's very simple to use, and it saves up so much time. And you can actually go, as you can see, like after 10-ish minutes, you can go straight away with the colors. Let me know your thoughts, and I see you in another video. Thank you guys so much. Bye.